Good morning, class. I hope everybody's having a blessed Lent. This morning I'm going to tell the first part of the Faces of Easter story, a godly play story by Jerome Berryman. Okay, so this is a story we keep on the shelves over there. And we're going to talk about the life of Jesus. So God asked Mary to be the mother of Jesus. And listen to the words. The Word was born as a wordless child. Jesus came into the world, and when he looked into his mother Mary's eyes, he could see the cross. And when he looked into his father Joseph's eyes, he could see the cross. So Joseph and Mary raised him, nurtured him, gave him everything he needed to grow. And grow he did. When he was 12 years old, he went with his family to Jerusalem and people from his village, from the village of Nazareth, to Jerusalem to celebrate a high holy day. And while he was there, they stayed and they visited. And then when they left through one of the mighty gates of Jerusalem, and they were leaving, and Mary and Joseph realized Jesus wasn't there. They thought he had been playing with the other children. So they ran back to Jerusalem, which was a big city, and they went down the dark roads, passageways, looking for him. They went back to the inn where they stayed, and he wasn't there. They went back to the market where they bought food, and he wasn't there. And finally, they went to the temple, and they found him in the temple. And he was in the temple among all the rabbis, and they were listening to him. And they were interested in him because he knew so much for such a young boy. And he listened to them because he wanted to learn more. And when his parents saw him, they asked him what all parents would say, and which you can't answer, which is, "Why did you do this to us?" And Jesus said something very strange. He said, "You should have known I'd be in my Father's house." And they thought, well, what does he mean, his Father's house? We live in his Nazareth, where his father where they have it at their carpentry shop. But they remembered that. So then, when Jesus was about 30 years old, he went to the river Jordan, where his cousin John was baptizing people. And you can see John here. He looks like a wild man with all that hair. And there's Jesus. And when Jesus waded into the river Jordan, and saw him, he recognized him for the first time, and he says, "I can't baptize you. You have to baptize me. You're the Messiah we've been waiting for." And Jesus said to John, "It is said that you will come before me. You must baptize me." So then Jesus went down into the chaos of the water. And when he came up, the people that were there said that they saw a dove. Here's part of the dove. Descend from heaven and swoop down. And then they heard this voice, this mighty voice that said, "This is my beloved Son, of whom I'm well pleased." So then Jesus crossed the Jordan and headed out into the wilderness. He went into the wilderness to figure out who he was and what it was he was supposed to do. So he was in the desert where there was very little food and very little water. And while he was there, he heard the voice of Satan. And the voice said, "Why don't you turn these rocks into food?" And Jesus said to him, turn these rocks into bread. And Jesus said to him, "Man does not live by bread alone." And then Jesus was seeing an image as if he was standing on top of the temple in Jerusalem. And the voice said, "Why don't you jump off the temple, and if you're truly the Son of God, God will send an angel to save you." And Jesus said, "We do not need to test God." And then finally, it was the image as if Jesus could see the whole world and all the kingdoms of the world. And the voice said to him again, if you follow me, I will make you king of all these kingdoms. And Jesus said, I am to be a king, but not that kind of king. And then the voice stopped. And then Jesus continued with his time in the wilderness and then headed out to do the work that he was supposed to do. So normally at this point in time in the story, if we were all here, I would ask you all to get something that is related to the story and bring it and put it here. Obviously you can't do that. So please think about that. Think about what's in our classroom. Think about what we have that relates to this story and what we would bring. Talk it over with your parents. Decide what you want to do. So I hope you have a wonderful week, and we'll hear the rest of the story next week. God bless you all.